And we're joined by Ben Stewart, the Liberal incumbent in Kelowna West. Thanks for your time today. So, if you're knocking on people's doors, what's your big message as to why people should go back to the Liberals here again in your riding?
Well, first of all, the Liberals were re-elected in this riding and have held this seat for over 20 years, and prior to that was Bill Bennett, the former Premier. I think that one of the things what they're talking about is that most of the people that are in this riding really do respect the fact that our track record shows that we have fiscal responsibility, we do care about the economy, we care about people's lives. I mean, some of the things that I hear most about is the people that are concerned about people that are wandering the streets dealing with mental health and addictions. That one is a very visible one, and that's one that I know that we've been very clear that we feel that there's more to be done.
Right. I think I saw some Liberal ads that suggest that the NDP want to keep tent cities, and the Liberals want to keep people safe. I'm not sure I love that dichotomy, but explain the message there.
Well, first of all, I mean, the policies of the current government haven't led to a reduction in terms of the number of people that are identified as being homeless. And I mean, they've built places, they've rented, like in West-Kelowna here, they've rented the Super 8 motel. Those have not been well thought out, integrated strategies about how we deal with the problem, whether it's mental health, addictions, or really, truly homelessness and affordability. And we need to deal with all three of them. So it's our opinion, the BC Liberals, that they've only dealt with, kind of building shelter without really dealing with the other things. And I know that I've had the opportunity to visit many of the shelters and look firsthand in on the ones that are, in my riding. We have Cornerstone down on Leon, which is more of, a safe drug injection site. I mean, it is kind of the very last stop before, we can't really help people. The Gospel Mission, which does a great job, but it's overwhelmed by the need. The West Kelowna Shelter Society, which is operating downtown West Bank here. And the big problem that they're finding is that there isn't the supports that they need to help people that manifest having these other issues. And so we've committed to helping, whether it's mental health or addiction treatment, and make certain that people get the help and they're not just warehoused.
Right. Checking the polls, I'm kind of surprised that there seems to be quite a gap. What is it, do you suppose, that has, John Horgan's NDP with such a lead at this point during the campaign?
Well, I mean, I think that one of the things, why are we having an early election? I mean, the Green Party agreed to a contract with the NDP that set out that the election was going to be October of 2021. And why did they call an early election? Was there an urgency? Something happened? I think that really it's opportunism. And I think that reality is that John Horgan's basking in the glow of the work that his Minister of Health and Bonnie Henry have done in terms of the pandemic. And we've worked with them. The Greens and the Liberals sided with the government in fast-tracking funding for health care, making certain that all of those things were in place. We had a lively summer session, whether it was Zoom or not. And maybe he feels that, this is as popular as I'm going to get in the next year. So at the end of the day, we're doing our best to try to make certain that they understand that we didn't ask for the election, but what we're trying to do is trying to show people that we have a really solid plan to build confidence and rebuild BC through our election platform, which covers the economy, covers mental health and addictions, seniors, all of these things that we've discovered through the pandemic that frankly we didn't respect or understand, and we need to get in and address them.
Right. The your health critic, your counterpart, Norm Letnick, is pretty supportive of how things were handled as we've gone through these last several months.
Yeah.
Now that we're in election mode, do you think there were missteps along the way?
To be fair, I think that considering how other jurisdictions have handled the pandemic, I think that the government took the available advice from professionals, which is what we should do as government. We should be listening to the experts and acting on that rather than, putting a political spin on it. So I think that was very well done. I think the public's very supportive of it. You remember when they set up the emergency hospitals at Vancouver Convention Center? It seems like overkill today looking back, but at the time, who knew that we were going to have enough ventilators or enough hospital space? So I think in reality, the government correctly made certain that if this thing blew up like it did in Italy and China and stuff like that, we had the adequate resources. And now that they have been able to level that out, not that we're not having a bit of a resurgence, I think that clearly Dr. Henry and her team have advised government very skillfully, and we've been supportive. And I think it's not, we're not there yet. We still need a vaccine so that we can get people to go back to some more normalcy.
It was interesting to see an opposition government, not taking shots along the way. But then you look at the polls, and it seems like the thanks that voters give you for that is, a deficit in the polls. And when an opposition doesn't do what they usually do, which is complain about everything, and you don't seem to get a lot of thanks for that.
The first things that I found when we were dealing with the pandemic in our offices was the amount of uncertainty that everybody felt. I mean, business people that were told to stay home, lost their jobs and stuff like that. I mean, nobody is looking for that knock 'em down kind of disagreements on whether one would do the other. We very carefully worked. We were briefed regularly by Dr. Henry and Stephen Brown, the Deputy Minister of Health. And I think for the most part, I think that we've all worked together on this. So as far as the public goes, they are now questioning, how are we going to pay all this money back? I mean, both provincially, federally, I think most people are stunned by, the numbers that are being talked about. Provincially, we need to get back to rebuilding the economy, which we've been very clear. Eliminate PST for a year, reduce it to 3% until the economy recovers, eliminate small business tax, make certain that we protect our tourism and hospitality industry, and invest in infrastructure, seniors, mental health and addictions. The things that we discovered were way worse with the pandemic, and we've got to do better.
All right. I know you have a few doors to knock on. Thanks for your time.
Kent, thanks very much. It's always a pleasure.